Welcome back to Grand Finals for Splashdown Saturday 6. I'm DHVF, and unfortunately Gabe had to leave, so it'll just be me commentating for Grand Finals and a potential bracket reset if Mitski Rowers can pull it off here. But here we have a rematch of winners bracket finals between the top seed Death Race for Love and the second seed Mitski Routers. And this was a close set when we last saw them in winners brackets. Death Race for Love ended up winning that set 3-1, but Mitski Routers made a couple of those games close. But we have two really talented teams here. It'll be interesting to see how they match up for the second time here. If Mitski Routers can take their momentum from cruising through losers bracket finals, and we'll see what they can do here. We will be starting out on Mako zones here, and it's a very fight heavy map. I think retake could be a problem if you have the right weapons. We have like AoE weapons that excel in fighting on the stack. So I think, if I remember correctly, Death Race for Love had a 10th player, and a lot of their comp centered around that. So it'll be interesting to see how they fit that in, if that is what they end up going with again. And it'll also be interesting to see which tent they do go with, because we saw a good mix of the Sorella tent with Zuka and the Vanilla tent with Feedback. So we'll see what it is when we get started here, as I do think we saw a Sorella tent with Zuka for them. Yep. So on the side of Death Race for Love, we have Pencil, Sorella tent, Vanilla Splash, and Custom Blaster. On the side of Mitski Riders, we have NZAP, Slosher, not Custom Blaster, Vanilla Blaster, and Shot. And see, Mitski Riders takes control zone first. They get a quick kill on the Splash, which is huge for them. I do not believe they were coolered before that, so it'll be a longer wait for them back. And Mitski Riders setting the tone early, getting 3 quick kills with Riki on the bucket there. And they do go down, and they do actually force a 2-down, Death Race for Love does, so they might be able to recap here pretty quickly without too much. Although, so far, Mitski Riders holding onto the zone pretty well. They still have not lost it, and they actually get a couple to go down. Now it's a 2v2, and Mitski Riders is able to hold it in that neutral state. They pick off the tent as well. That's a huge stagger kill for Mitski Riders, as now Death Wish Love is in full reset mode. You see the Pencil looking on at the zone, trying to charge that cooler. They get it. Now they can start thinking about dropping in the zone. But that timer is ticking down. There is no penalty. This is the first cap of the game for Mitski Riders. There's that Pen sees the flank by Mitski Riders there, was too focused on that and not on the zone. That shot, I believe that was a shot. They do get taken down, but not before that a lot of the penalty goes down. Mitski Riders goes 2 down. This is Death Race for Love's chance to avoid a quick knockout. And it's still in neutral, the zone. And Death Race for Love is eventually able to cap and avoid the loss early on. It got scary for them for a good bit there, as they were kind of stuck on their plat and had some brutal stagger kills inflicted upon them. But they managed to be able to rebound, and now starting to get settled into mid more, as Mitski Riders is trying to regroup now back on their plat. They do get a kill on the tent. Again, it's a second really valuable kill on that tent, which is going to be key if Mitski Riders wants to win this set and this tournament. Now they're trying to retake here, but the splashdown from the blaster didn't look like it found anyone. Now we got a 3v3 situation, as that timer is now ticking down. But the Tri-Strikes are able to recap it for Mitski Riders, and they're moving in front of zone. Forced a jump out, but the jump out cannot get up before dying. I think they were not cool. Did not have the quick super jump needed for that. The Zuka's out now. They're firing towards plat. They cancel the crab. That's a huge win for Mitski Riders, even if they did not get the kill. They do get the kill on that 10 here. Now the shot is moving on. They get another kill on the splash. The shot is going for another flank here. Let's see if they can get it. They're going for the pencil, just short of getting a kill, but a huge play by the shot to get those 2 kills and stall the other 2 members of Death Race for Love. And all of a sudden, look at that penalty. 10 seconds left. Mitski Riders has got to go. They have 2 specials, but the blaster dies before they can use Splashdown. But somehow Death Race for Love ends up capping anyways. Oh, and you saw here, the blaster used that Splashdown they died with and got a kill with it when they jumped back in from spawn. So despite going 3 down before that Splashdown, Death Race for Love is now somewhat back in mid. They did not have to fully wipe out to do that. So that turns a bad situation into a slightly better situation. But right now, Mitski Riders, they come out from all that chaos with the zone still. Only a penalty of 22 seconds. The shot continues its rampage, gets another kill on the splash there. Goes down to the blaster, who's able to poke above the right stack there. Blaster now swimming forward. They have Splashdown using it. Could not find a kill. Fighting the bucket, and they're taken down by the other blaster. and that splashdown could have been devastating, but Mitski Routers handled it quite well there. The Blaster gets a quick kill on the tent. Again, the tent has not really been able to get set up too much in this game. That's a key reason as to why Mitski Routers is winning here. Blaster looking to continue that momentum. They're hanging back in zone. Tent drop, but no one else looks like they quite has. Tent is kind of isolated. They're going to have to fall back all the way to the far left side of the map. At this point, Death Race for Love, no specials, not a lot of time. Splash goes down. The penalty's up. 2 down already. Mitski Routers has painters on the zone, and they force a wipeout. Different type of like a totally different type of attitude almost being established on this set early on. As Mitski Routers had really nice control of that from that game from start to finish. They really minimized the impact of the tent. They minimized the impact of the pencil firing on the zone to like get quick paint on it. And they did an excellent job of just forcing Death Race for Love to play in their terms. And for our next match, we'll move on to Clam's Museum, which is it could be an interesting map. I think it's one that definitely favors the tent on Death Race for Love a bit more than the last one, considering that they were never really going to get set up in the close quarters nature of Makomart. But Clam's Museum, like, there's a lot of open space in mid, which is what tent thrives on. They love being able to just live and survive in that open space with their shield. And so I think that keep an eye on that tent as we move on to this next game. If they can even get a Zuka up, if assuming they go with the Zuka kit, that is, like, that could lead to some potential high impact plays here. But as on the other side of Mitski Routers, I think they're looking to keep up the momentum they had. That was a very strong game from their shot player in particular. Kind of took over that game for a little bit in the middle there, as I think they want to kind of, again, force fights in like places that like where tent doesn't have good positioning, where they don't have time to like kind of set up in mid with their shield, and where they want to kind of get flanks on the pencil, which can, and I should also add that this is quite the dominant pencil map, especially if they get set up in the middle spinner, where they can kind of just poke towards the enemy basket pretty easily without much contest. So there's a lot of factors going on for this next match, and it should be interesting to see when we get started momentarily. And here we are about to start this game 2 on Museum Clams here. And as you see, the shot player from Mitski Routers is going back to the vanilla Dewey Splashers they were running near the beginning of the tournament. They're dropping that shot they had so much success with in favor of the Dewey Splashers. As you see here, them and what looks to be one other player, could not quite make out who that was, dropped left to try and get some pressure on Death Race for Love early on, but it does not work out as they go down early to the splash. And since the Dewey Squelchers were not clear, that it allows Death Race for Love to kind of set their foothold in mid and take that top mid spinner, get a crab set up there, which could be dangerous if they use it right here. They fall off the top spinner. The bucket's kind of poking at them, so they're not going to get a ton of value off this, but they still got firm control of mid here. Although the Dewey Squelchers does get an impressive 1v1 out of there, and it's just going to kind of stand there, try and stall as much as they can, and kind of distract Death Race for Love as best as they can. Now going back to the center of mid, trying to climb up spinner, sets up a wave breaker there, might try to take a foray to kill the enemy pencil, which they do, and even though it ended up being a trade, they will take that against the enemy backline on such a good pencil map any day of the week. As you see here, the game is still kind of in a neutral state. Like, you saw some action with the Dewey Squelchers early on, but not a ton of team fights being taken right now, just minor skirmishes. But you see the zap from Mitski Routers here, trying to get set up in the bottom right corner, jumps out to the rest of its teammates, but finds himself right in the splash zone. Good job by them to dodge it there, but then it is eventually taken out by the splash, it looks like. And just like that, 3 go down. It's just the pencil left for Death Race for Love. And now Mitski Riders can turn on the Jets and potentially get a push here. They have a power clam. The Bucket also has some clams. They could potentially make one if they find a couple spare ones. But they do unfortunately go down. And as well as the Squelchers go down. So Death Race for Love does an excellent job trying to kind of stall that out. Now, all of a sudden, they're kind of turning the tables here. They're trying to move up to kind of potentially score there. So we will see how this ends for Death Race for Love. Right now, looking like it's kind of fizzling out again. It's 2 good defensive stands by both teams there to kind of prevent any points from being scored. Here's now the Bucket is going to strike back in the mid, try and get a little more pain on their side in mid, trying to get a little more pain. Maybe take up this fight with the tent. Oh, it's a tough fight when they got their shoot up, as they are able to get picked off. And now we have a 4v2 situation, a delayed 3 down for Death Race for Love. Is this where we finally see someone break the basket for the first time, as we're about halfway through this game? We do see the power climb jump. Is it going to be close enough? They have a 10-shield in front, so it will be. And just like that, Death Race for Love takes the lead. Will they be able to respond, though? Does not look like it. Don't see a ton of people in the area as 3 go down for Death Race for Love. So only 20 points scored on that push. As Mitski Riders is going to have a chance to get themselves settled in mid again and potentially score for the first time themselves. The Bucket's on their plat. They pop the strikes. We'll see if anyone is able to run forward and get some value with them. As you see the Zap, they're carrying the ball. They pop the cooler. They have a bubble up there. They can jump if they want, but they're just going to swim it. And they get punished by the tent for doing so instead of going for the jump. Wow, it was a bold play that didn't work out for Mitski Riders and the Zap player there. And Death Race for Love still holding it down. That ball almost got scored, but they just keep getting timely kills when they needed. But hold on, you see the Zap, what it looks like, is able to sneak in and score that ball, but it's not going to be enough relief unless they get one more clam in. And right now, you see the Squelchers on that plat. Nope, they're taken down, and that's a delayed wipe. So really, really good defensive stand for Death Race for Love. They allowed a score, but they still maintain their lead. And this is a game of teams that have played two great defenses, I think, for this. They have not allowed a lot of pushes. They have not allowed a lot of snowballs. They're doing a good job staying alive, getting timely kills, and we'll see who comes out on top. And any score for one side is going to change the game. As you see, thanks to that Zuka from the tent, it looks like Death Race for Love is in great position to score again. The Splashdown comes out as well. Doesn't find a kill, but still allows Death Race for Love to sneak in and score. Get that score all the way down to 61 before potentially regrouping, as it's just the pencil who's still alive. That was exactly what Death Race for Love needed there. It's not a lot, though, as Mitski Riders can easily snowball this, as they're getting set up on the top of the spinner next to the basket. They have 2 balls. This could very easily get out of hand as 1 ball scores. 2 balls scores. They take the lead. 3 go down. The Zap is still alive. They're going to try and run back. But what a great push by Mitski Riders. They strike with 2 balls and a little bit more on the sides. The Zap does go down for a Saturn kill, but they'll be back fast to defend. And right now, only 15 seconds remain, and Death Race for Love needs to get set up quickly. They have Pity. I believe they grab Pity Clam, but right now they need just a little bit more. They don't need a lot, but they need just some more. As Mitski Riders needs to bunker down for defense and potentially get this. But hold on, they go 3 down. Death Race for Love is 2 down, but right now it's just the Dewey Squelchers holding plat. They need to kind of stall, and it looks like they're not taking advantage of the 3-down situation. It was just the Dewey Squelchers on the plat, but the Death Race for Love decided to hang back instead of pressure them when they're 3 down. Here you see the Splash moving in. They're killed. They're running out of time. It's not going to be enough. Mitski Riders holds on for the win after a great final push and a great final stand. And with that, Mitski Riders has learned from that last set. They've learned from the sets they've played since then, and they've now been able to take a good advantage into it and commanding 2-0 lead to potentially force a bracket reset if they win one more game out of the next 3.
I'm a little surprised. We have a co-commentator now.
That's good. But yeah. Yes, but what we saw from that game was it was a very good defensive effort from both sides. There were at times towards the end of the game where both teams went down in large numbers, but again, like no team was ever really able to take advantage of it until Mitski Riders at the very end when they got both those power clams in. So tough game between 2 evenly matched teams, but I think in the end it was that Zuka that really kind of opened it up for Mitski Router. So yeah.
Oh well, we are moving to Rainmaker on Pump Track. What do you think about this map mode?
Well, last time we saw these two teams play on this map mode, it went to the favor of Death Race for Love because that tent. They went with a vanilla tent with Inkback, and that move totally paid off for them. They were a thorn in the side of Mitski Routers all game. They had some timely backs that stalled out the pushes of Mitski Routers. The whole reason why they won their Death Race for Love's winning push was because the tent shield was able to paint a shielded path to the Rainmaker right all the way down to the 11-point mark. So I think that immediately I'm leaning towards Death Race for Love as having the advantage. I think when you're down 2-0, you need a map that's going to be a little bit in your favor. And I think this is the map for Death Race for Love. So I think that they'll probably be happy to see, considering how their tent has played the relationship and how that their tent hasn't really been able to have the impact it's had so far compared to the first set between these two teams. I also think, on the other hand, if they're Mitski Routers, if you can somehow win on this map, that I think is more favored to Death Race for Love. I think that gives you huge momentum swing for a potential bracket reset, where you sweep the team that beat you earlier, you beat them on the map that they're more favored on, and I think it would open up the whole tournament for them. I think that Mitski Routers doesn't need to win this one, but if they do win this one, it'll be a humongous turn of events for them. But what are your thoughts, Navy?
I absolutely agree with everything you just said, and yes, we are seeing that tent again. That is absolutely amazing, and like you said, if they do manage to take this game and win in a commanding 3-0, that would give them a ton of momentum going into that potential bracket reset.
Yeah, and we do see that Death Race for Love gets the pop instantly, and we do actually see it's the vanilla tent like last time with Inkback, not the Zuka tent. Oh, but we see the bucket from Mitski Routers get 2 kills. Gonna try and chase the last one, but they're not gonna quite follow. But right now, that checkpoint is wide open for Mitski Routers, despite losing that opening pop. And they're gonna be able to. Oh no, they do not take it. Good defense by Death Race for Love there, as they hold that checkpoint just a little longer, even if it falls within the next couple seconds.
Yep, nice job with that bucket, being able to get enough picks to be able to help them control mid. But luckily enough, it seems like this Death Race for Love is able to hold on and retake mid after that. Nice picks from the tent there with the Zuka.
Yeah. Death Race for Love did give up that checkpoint, but they had to get it on the second try, so it means that they had to devote more resources to it and more people to it, and it allowed Death Race for Love to subsequently get back control of mid afterwards. And the back shot clears the area around check, and with 2 down now, watch the flank there. Okay, the Zuka got the flank, and now they're able to get that check relatively uncontested, although they do go down. But again, Mitski Router is still 2 down. I feel like they're forcing too many things here. They're going down too easily. And now Death Race for Love, they got a 10 shield set up, and they get it to 38. Not as dangerous of a push as you might think with the 10 shield set up that way, but the people going down Mitski Routers that way. But still a dangerous push on this map.
Yeah, especially with that intent for defense, like what happened later. That vacuum is going to be very difficult for Mitski Routers to be able to push back against, but they luckily do retake control here and are going to be trying to go back to mid. Killer Whale comes out, and one goes down sadly on the side of Mitski Routers, but they seem to be holding on. They are able to trade that out. This Rainmaker is just going to be stalling here, looking for more picks.
Yeah, although I do want to mention that I believe Death Race for Love is able to squeeze out a couple more points just by running it for like a couple of seconds there. I think they were in the 30s. Now they're at 27. So good job by them. They're increasing their lead little bit by little bit. That's kind of what wins these games in Rainmaker here. But as you can see, Mitski Routers looks like
it does get a pick, and the Rainmaker is down. That's going to slow their push by a lot. And like you mentioned, even small points like that can save a game. But in this case, it does not matter. Nice pick onto the Rainmaker, able to completely stop their push this tent, trying to move up on the left side, and is able to force people out, and still surviving here, holding on even with that Killer Whale. The Rainmaker is resetting. This tent still here, just trying to take and hold as much space as possible while living.
Yeah, it was a really good defensive stand. I believe the Rainmaker, that last push, was killed by the Inkback shot. So another good use of the Inkback there by the tent player on Death Race for Love. They do go down, but not before killing the Blaster. And you see a couple more people on both sides go down to kind of put the game back to neutral. But it's a 2v1 now for Death Race for Love. But do they see the Blaster? If the Rainmaker goes down on the Blaster, that's a huge momentum swing in the favor of Mitski Routers, which they do. And now they turn that 2v1 to a potential momentum getter as the Blaster wants to continue their luck, try and poke the tent in the other teammate nearby there.
Yep,
It
this
looks
blaster is
like
doing everything they can to try to start a push, and it looks like it's working. But that ink back, like you said, also comes out. Unfortunately, dies there, but is able to force the Rainmaker back. But momentum is still in Mitski's favor. But they do go 2 down, 3 down. It's just a bucket here, and that push was stopped very close to what could have been a lead swing to Mitski robbers,
the
and that
bucket
looked
jumps
very
out, but
scary
not
for them.
before their teammate dies when they try to jump into the bucket. It's a bad miscommunication by Mitski Rodders there. As the bucket also gets taken out by an errant range shot. Wow, I was not expecting him to go down that way. So now you have Death Wish for Love again. They don't quite have the ink back yet, but if they do get it, keep an eye on that. As unfortunately the rain is taken out before the push can get started. Good kills by the blaster yet again for Mitski Rodders. And
Opting
wow,
to go on the left path here. This is very interesting, but it seems to be working so far. There's only that shot there, and they do luckily pick off the Rainmaker, but they do die in the process. This is looking very close, and nice pick on the tent from the Slosher there. They do get pop on the Rainmaker, and they run it. They do get the lead there, and that's the lead swing to Mitsuki Routers.
yeah, it was a very bold play to go left side, where no team ever goes left side on this map, but it absolutely paid off for Mitski Riders there. They were able to get close to lead and then re-pop despite a couple of them going down and then using their Splashdown a bit earlier. And then get that 7-point lead. So now it's not over. There's still 10 seconds left. 2 people down. They have specials. Another 2 go down, but they lose the Rainmaker. Looks like a killer whale got on them. Yeah, they can re-pop. They're still running. The Kraken looks like they grab it. They're gonna run and they get it. Throughout all the chaos, the teammate from Death Race for Love was in
Wow.
Kraken, grabbed it, and they just made a mad dash to get lead, and they get it. Wow. I thought after the Rainmaker died with less than 10 seconds left, it was over. But Death Race for Love did not give up. They popped extremely quickly, which is something that they hadn't been doing for most of the game. And they were able to just mad dash their way to lead. It was a great play by whoever grabbed that Rainmaker there.
Yeah, I think that was the person in Kraken. They were able to grab the Rainmaker just in time before the timer ran out. And with that tank shield protecting them, they were able to finally get that lead. That was very close. And yes, I thought the exact same thing that you did. Once that Rainmaker died to that killer whale, I thought it was completely over, but they seem to prove completely wrong.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal back and forth game with Mitski Rodders getting the lead from left, which I don't want to go unnoticed, even though they did not ultimately win that game. Like, that was an insane play by them, and it worked out. They executed it near perfection. They got what they wanted, just could not hold on defense. There's too many of them went down afterwards in the retakes for mid, and Death Race for Love, they got a couple touchdowns, they got a couple picks, and from there they were just able to kind of almost luck their way to lead, where in the midst of that chaos, like, a lot of it does come down to luck. And luck favored them. Luck did not want to see a sweep here in winners bracket, or not winners, but in grand finals just in general. So, yeah, really good game from both teams there.
Yes, and it also seems luck wanted us to see tower control on Sturgeon Shipyard. I must apologize for this map.
Yeah, very interesting map pick, but at the same time, I'm interested how these teams do. I mean, this map, it's really all about like controlling the high ground over the enemy team's court when you're pushing, and being able to find ways to get like a midline weapon or like a backline weapon even like off the high ground there, off the stack. So it'll be interesting to see how both teams kind of do with that. What type of? I think because it is also tower control, I think that blaster players on both teams might see some more increased impact. We don't know, but we'll see how this goes. But what do you think, Navy?
I know one comment that the Surgeon Shipyard gets a lot and is critiqued for is how snowball it is, meaning that one team can easily just completely KO and lock the other team in their spawn after winning the initial engagement in mid. So I'm very excited to see who wins that engagement, because that could decide the set right here.
Yeah, I mean, I think once a team gets past second checkpoint in this map, it's hard to come back from. It's a straight shot right to the KO, right to the goal. So I think, will we see a team get there? We'll find out here, as we see a range blaster for Death Race for Love and a range blaster for Mitski Routers as well. Both of the vanilla kinds, so no Kraken.
These are
Wave breakers for both
identical
teams.
comps, Bo.
Yeah, they are identical comps. So, same comp, so it'll come down to what team plays the game better. None of that comp diff nonsense here.
Yep. Cooler comes out from both sides, and one goes down on the side of Death Race for Love. And it looks like so far we have Mitski Rotters with momentum here, but they do go two down, and now this is just a big scramble in mid. This Zap is trying to fight for their life and gets a nice pick on the slosher there, but not before their team goes three down, but is still trying to hold on here, fighting this shot in mid, and both backing off from each other because they do not want to go down. This is a very scary fight to be fighting in mid.
Yeah, fortunately for Death Race for Love, they were not able to even get to the first checkpoint there. So the game is still in a neutral state as of now. It's a 3v3. The range goes down, the bucket goes down, both for Mitski Routers. That could swing things. Now it's a 3-down situation. The last one's there, prevents the wipeout, but is kind of just going to be forced to retreat back to core and just give jumps, consider options. But the Death Race for Love is free to push to that towards that first checkpoint. It is worth noting that Caden there for Mitski Raj does have a Zuka. Not sure when they're going to use that, but it'll be prove useful in defending that check. They do pop it now, get a kill before getting killed themselves by the Nzap, who's going to get 2 kills and force a 3-down situation. That was a great play by Nzap to get on the high ground and kill that Zuka before it could become too impactful. As we do see here that the Death Race for Love does in fact get the first checkpoint to fall, and they're heading towards that second checkpoint here. The lead is kind of falling, and for Mitski Raj, they're running out of room for errors. Once they get past that second checkpoint, it's do or die time. I think they are staggering a lot as well, like a lot of just constant dash just to keep time from inching forward momentarily. But Death Race for Love is staying alive. They're keeping the momentum up. They're not all going down. They have two people there, but they are eventually just gonna go down. Oh, that's a delayed wipe. So it was a good job of Mitsubishi to rebound and kind of like not get overwhelmed by the staggering that we saw earlier. And looks like that Mitski Rotters is going to be getting past that first check. You see the shot here from Death Race for Love trying to defend their plat is able to kind of do so. They're still 2 down. They have strikes on, but they lose the lead here as well. So not ideal for Death Race for Love, who all of a sudden now needs to be pretty careful here. Although they do force 3 down, they do not let Mitski Routers get past the check. So another good defensive stand, but they lose the lead. They're going to need to push again.
Wow, I love that I absolutely ate my words there. This game is so close and lead is being traded, quite a bit right now. And, they still have a chance, but that Range Buster does go down. And Missy Routers might have another chance to secure this push and clean up the game.
Yeah, they are on the offensive again after getting that lead. 2 go down, so I'm not sure how much life this push has anymore. Yeah, as they do head back despite popping those strikes. Actually, the strikes ended up going down, so no strikes for them, it looks like. But I think Death Race Love just needs to focus on getting the tower out of the low ground here. Like, I think Mitski Route is kind of in a place where they can kind of just keep the tower in like an unfavorable area for them if they play their cards right. It does seem like the tower is moving back to mid, so that's already a good win for Death Race for Love. But they're gonna need to play defense again because no one really followed the tower. It's coming right back, and right now, Death Race for Love, they're finally getting back into mid, finally trying to establish some control. But we'll see what they can do as they force a 3 down.
Yep, nice picks from the Range Buster there, and they are able to scale into the court here, and Missy Routers just trying to take a defensive position on the top left of their spawn and trying to prevent that tower from getting to that spot where it's really difficult for them to push back and take. And oh no, it looks like the shot is falling off the cliff while using Zuka, got carried away there. But they're already so close to taking back lead. Missy Routers is 1 down, and this is a very nice opportunity. And the nice picks again, they're 2 down once again. Death Race for Love is so close to getting lead again. 4 points away, and they're 3 down. It looks like Missy Routers has recovered, and they are able to defend that lead in a very close scramble there at the end.
Yeah, no, I feel like Death Race for Love was this close to winning, but the Zuka from the far right side of the grids from Mitski Rotters, that saved the game. I believe it got 2 kills, and then from there they were able to follow up and get the 3rd kill and eventually force the wipeout and the game. And I believe with that, Mitski Rotters takes a set and force a bracket reset for Grand Final. So we are going to get a brand new 0-0 set between these two teams, thanks to Mitski Rotters winning this set 3-1.
Yes. We will see that bracket reset, so what fun.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was a very close game. I think Mitski Rotters only won by a couple of points there, and Death Race for Love almost took the lead in the waning seconds of that game, but again, that Zuka saved the game. And I mean, I don't want to harp on this too much, but I mean, you gotta think if Death Race for Love.
I don't understand what's going on here.
Give me a break, give me a break.
Understand what's going on here.
Give me a break, give me a break.
And we are back, getting right into it as we start on ship-shaped zones. These two teams, yet again, Death Wish for Love has a pencil, Sorella Tent, Splash, and Custom Blaster. Mitski Rotters has a Zap, Bucket, Vanilla Range, and a Splatter Shot. And we can see
a little bit of comp change here, and we're seeing the other tent, the one with Zuka. Anyway, Cooler comes out from the pencil here, and just a lot of fighting going on in mid right now. Death Race for Love playing a lot on the right side. They do deploy that tent in mid, and they get a nice pick onto the shot there, but they do go down themselves, and looks like this range blaster's on the top right area trying to apply as much pressure as possible, and 2 down on the side of Death Race for Love, and they're gonna have to back up here. Pencil and the tent here are the only ones alive.
Yeah, it looks like Mitski Rotters won that initial team fight. Oh, Suzuka over the top of the wall gets the kill on the tank. Great shot by Kaden there. That was a certified Zuka moment there, but regardless of what that was, Mitski Rotters is firm control over mid right now. That penalty is ticking down, and Death Race for Love doesn't really have a clear lane to retake now, although that kill on the shot will help. It's not going to be quite enough, as they're looking to cap. No one's really by zone right now. The tank gets there and is able to cap and give a penalty to Mitski Rotters here.
Yep, nice plays from the Blaster. They're just hungry for a lot of kills. They got those nice 2 picks to get themselves back into the game and control over mid, but they do go down, and Mitski Rotters just doing a great job, I guess, healing from that screen retake from Mitski, from Death Race for Love. And they're back on the left foot here, and this pencil is just trying to survive and paint for the team, getting close to that cooler.
Yeah, I mean, Mitski Rotters already passed their penalty. I mean, the shot does go down, so maybe that's where Death Race for Love can start their retake. But I mean, they gotta go fast here. But 3 go down, great kills there by the Crab and the other teammates for Death Race for Love, as they are able to retake relatively quickly. I think Mitski Rotters will extend a little bit there, and Death Race for Love capitalize.
Yep, but once again, nice pick from the Blaster. Hopefully they're going to be able to hold this here, but the zone goes back to Mitski Rotters. But it looks like they're all still here and trying to fight to take back the zone. This pencil going in mid here, trying to help their team. That Splash unfortunately dies, I think, to a bomb from the shield. But this tent does have Zuka and is going to try to find a pick here. And doesn't seem to get one yet, but they do have a cooler, and it looks like they're going to try to play off of this push still. But it's looking very scary. They do get a nice pick on the bucket, nice pick on the shot as well. And one down on both sides. This is hard to tell who's going to come out as victorious in this fight.
Yeah, Death Race for Love is not letting Mitski Riders have an easy win here, but at the same time, they gotta be able to hold the zone for a little longer. Because right after they recap, it looks like Mitski Riders is kind of in the process of retaking. Or maybe that kill on the bucket and the zap is able to do it. So no, Death Wish for Love does exactly what I said they should do. And they held the zone. They foiled Mitski Raj's attempt to get it back quickly. And now, just like that, Mitski Raj is going to have to do a full-on retake from spawn. None of their members are set up even close to mid right now. They're going to need a charge specialist. They have the cooler out now, but they're going to need more than that.
Like you said, all Death Race for Love needed to do was stabilize after getting the zone. Then it seems like they have. And they're getting really close to lead here. Mitski Riders starting to get a little bit desperate. The lead does go to Death Race for Love. One down on each side, and they might be able to hold this out for even longer. But that's only if they can outpaint Mitski Riders right now.
Yeah, that timer is ticking down as Mitski Riders is finally able to recap, but not before they get to 14. The Mitski Riders themselves does not have that large of a penalty, so they just need to hold for a little bit, and they'll be there to the lead. But that's an easier said than done task, I think, as you see Riki gets taken down by the blaster, and that might be enough for Death Race for Love to retake. It is, yes. We'll see if they can get fully set. The Splashdown is there, finds a kill. There's a jump there. Will they get that kill as well? They do, but not before getting traded. So there's 3 down, Mitski Rise, and Death Race for Love still has the zone. This is a great position to be in if you're Death Race for Love.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. And they might be approaching getting their specials, and this person is just trying to survive. And the shot gets a nice Azuka and trying to find a pick here, but that crab is going to almost kill it. Barely survives. Nice kills from the shot here. 2 down, and if they can paint, they might be able to get the zone back. Nice other kill from the shot here, and it looks like they're going to be able to retake and stop Death Races for Love. It's a race to victory.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some very clutch kills by the shot there to get settled in the mid again and force a hard retake on a map that is very hard to retake on. But they have a crab up, but they're looking at top right. Now looking at mid, there's a Zuka firing at it. It does not get the kill. Strikes are out. There's 6 seconds remain. Death Race for Love's got to go now. Will they contest it? They do. The Splashdown's on the zone. Not going to be enough to cap. Now it's enough to cap. Death Race for Love at the very last second gets the win and gets a retake that took just the right amount of time.
Wow. Very clutch Splashdown. They're able to zone them completely away from zone, and that spotter shot was able to paint the zone, put enough paint on the ground to be able to cap that, and that was really close. 1 point away from victory. And
yeah,
with that, they've taken away some momentum from Mitski Riders.
Yeah,
maybe potentially
all the momentum after that, after they won their previous set. But I mean, it's a brand new set, and Death Race for Love is taking advantage of that. They're up 1-0. They don't need to worry about the past. And I think it definitely got a little risky for them towards the end. Like when those strikes came out at the very end on the side of Mitski Riders, I thought that they were going to be able to hold on and take the lead. But no, they were able to paint over the strikes. The blaster got behind and got the Splashdown to contest. And from there, they got a couple kills and were able to secure the zone just at the right moment. So really, really clutch plays by Death Race for Love here as we move on to game 2 from Crab Leg Clams.
Crab Leg Clams. Standard map mode, I don't have a lot of thoughts. I don't know if you do.
I mean, it's a very defensive mode, I think. Like, it's like, I think if you want to be able to get consistent scoring, you need to really get set up in their basket area. Like, I think, like, it's hard to, like, kind of just break kind of, like, the choke point that is, like, the ramp that leads up to baskets. But I think that in the earlier Crab Leg Clams game that we saw, I forget what 2 teams were playing, we saw pretty high scoring game. I think teams were able to do that. They were able to get like bubbles or like other types of specials down that were able to prolong their pushes. So I think that when teams do push, they're going to need to rely on those specials even more. I think it's going to be hard to just score just without specials, just by getting regular kills. But yeah, we'll see what these two teams cook up.
Yep. I'll say this is a very strong Zuka and Crab map, both specials that we've seen. So
yeah, especially if you can get one set up on the grates and mid, because those can kind of poke all the way to the basket area. So we'll see if they can get some valuable crabs, valuable Zukas. If Death Race for Love goes pencil again, like that's a very valuable spot for a pencil to be. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, got a lot of variability between these two pretty evenly matched teams. So can't wait to see what they do.
Yep, agreed.
And we are getting ready to move on to game 2 here. And looks like Pencil will be back. The Vanilla Tent with the Ink Vac is back both for Death Race for Love. And the Splash and the Custom Blaster will return. On the side of Mitski Riders, it's similar to what they've been running. Zap, Bucket, Shot, and a Blaster. In this case, it's a range and not a Vanilla Blaster.
Yep, seeing that Vanilla Tent again, maybe that's their way to win. But who knows, one goes down on each side. And the shot here close to Zuka, maybe going to try to get that, but decides to chase this person on the right side and is caught off guard by multiple people, but they are able to force them out, falling out with the Zuka, and does get a pick and trades. That is 2 down on the side of Death Race for Love, and Missy Rodders has a really nice opportunity here to be able to, if they can, score when they get a power clam.
Yeah, although for the time being, it looks like all 4 members of Death Race for Love are back on the plat. The tent has a vac set up, so they're going to need to wait a little bit longer if they want to push. And they do get caught out. That's 3 people on Mitski Riders going down. It's a great kill by the Slash, and that's a full wipeout. If Death Race for Love can mobilize their clans, which they do, they can score. And now the gates are opening potentially for a prolonged push. The Splashdown gets on there. Does not find a kill, but still takes away some attention from the people that are trying to score clams. And 2 go down on the side of Death Race for Love, and I think that'll be it. But they get to 62, which is better here than it is on most clans maps as well, I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, Missy Rodders was just too slow in the beginning, unable to get enough clams for that power clam after those critical picks from them. And Death Race for Love just pushed back really nicely. But now it looks like Missy Rodders have shifted momentum once again. 3 go down on the side of Death Race for Love. Missy Rodders gets another pick after that, and they do score the clam, but they're going to need plenty of more clams. And like you said, 62 is a really strong push on this map. But who knows, Missy Rodders has that power clam in hand and decides to jump it, and they do get the lead there all the way down to 45 points remaining. And Death Race for Love is going to have to fight back. They get 2 down, but they have lost the lead there.
Yeah, it definitely felt like Mitski Riders was able to get set up a little bit more. They both started their pushes in similar ways, but it felt like they were just able to linger on the plat for a little bit longer. They weren't chased out, and that allowed the Pity Clan to be jumped in to take the lead. And now they didn't even really lose control of mid. It's kind of in a neutral state here. The Ink Vac is out, so Mitski Riders might have a little trouble with that, but we'll see how they can react here. It's kind of gone back to a 44 situation.
Wow, this shot player is just doing an amazing job living there. They finally get picked off, but not before getting a trade. But, oh no, it doesn't seem to have been enough. Death Race for Love has gotten enough picks to secure that control of mid, and they have 3 power clams now, so if they do get a push from here, it will be very devastating for Missy Rodders.
Although 2 go down, so Mitski Riders is going to be able to push through mid, push those other 2 ball carriers that are still alive. But they might even be able to get a counter-offensive ongoing if they can mobilize the clams needed. They do have a somewhat large penalty, but I think that can be easily erased if the clam economy gets in their favor. Meanwhile,
yeah, I mean, this game is going so fast, I just can't keep up. The momentum keeps on shifting between these 2 teams who are doing a great job getting picks, but aren't able to really set up. But the Splash is trying to prove me wrong, and Missy Rodders does go 2 down. They were coolered, and it looks like the Splash has been picked off by the Zap here. And I don't know, this is just a lot of fighting and trading going on, but it seems like Mitski Rodders has held on, especially after that Zap getting 2 nice kills there. But hopefully they can get the clam economy, like you said, in place. They do get a power clam, and if they can get close enough, they can score to this basket, and their penalty is almost gone now. If they can get enough clams in the basket, they might be able to extend their lead even more, but they do go 3 down. It's just a shot remaining, getting a nice pick for that Zuka. But Death Race for Love cleans it up really nicely here and will hopefully get mid to be able to contest for their own push.
Mitski Riders is able to build on that lead, getting the 34, but a lot of them do go down. It didn't look like a lot of them were cleared. So Death Race for Love is going to control mid. They're going to get a crab in a very valuable position for a crab to be on. Maybe we'll see some other people rush in while that crab is active. They're targeting the elbow now. Now, it looks like they're still holding strong on Plat. The vac is on as well. The Splash gets the kill on the zap.
Wow.
The bucket goes down as well. That's 2 down. This is Death Race for Love's chance. Oh, but the blaster on the side of the ramp gets the pick. They need to get that clam. They're so close to scoring here as they do punch it in. And now if they get that last ball in, they could take the lead. The tent is set up, but it doesn't look like anyone's going for that pity. But they don't need the pity. They can go get... They get the pity anyways, and they knock out. Wow.
Wow.
Intense, fast-paced push by Death Race for Love to come back and just knock it out and leave no doubt and take a 2-0 lead and put this tournament at its potentially final game if they can win the next one.
Wow, it seems like Tent was the play there. That Tent able to live and push to the plat all by themselves and have enough clams to get lead all by themselves, and that pity there was just the cherry on top to seal the game away there with that Tent living for as long as they did, able to get that jump in.
Yeah, it was a really good patient push by Death Race for Love. They had the crab set up there. It didn't immediately find any picks, but I think it caused a lot of people on Mitski Routers to move to elbow where they eventually dropped into more favorable positions for Death Race for Love to slowly pick them off, get their pushes going, be patient, continue to get 2 down a couple times throughout that push, and eventually jump in the pity to get the knockout.
Yep, and with that we are moving to Hagglefish Market Tower Control.
Yeah, I think this could be another very interesting game. I think Tower Control is probably one of the weaker modes for Tent as a whole, which has been the defining factor between these two teams. Death Race for Love's Tent player. So it'll be interesting to see how, if they do still go Tent, and how they choose to use that Tent if they do end up going it. So I'm interested to see how that ends up working out.
Yes, I am very interested. Both teams are using blasters, so like with the
Yeah.
last Tower Control game, maybe they will be having more picks than usual. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's gonna come down to which blaster player could potentially have a better game. Maybe like clear space on defense to like defend the first 2 checks, especially, are very important on this map. So I think, I don't know, a lot of games in this mode tend to be close. So hopefully we're in for a good one here.
Yeah. And these sets have been, the sets may not have been as close, but all of these games seem to be so close. And I'm just on the edge of my seat, and I can't really quite commentate this very well. It seems both teams are playing very quickly, and momentum is shifting every second of the game. Basically, it's hard for me to keep up.
Yeah, it could just as easily be 2-0 in the favor of Mitski Routers now, but a couple of things have just not went their way towards the end of these games, and say it's 2-0 Death Race for Love. But we'll see if we can get a third straight close game that comes right down to the wire here.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're getting started. We do see the tent, and I believe that is the Sorella tent. And we see a range blaster as well. This appears to be a vanilla range blaster too. And we see the zap instead of the pencil for Death Race for Love. Zap on the side of Mitski Routers too, but they've been running that all night. So we have the comps. Let's see how these two teams can duke it out. Mitski Routers playing to stay alive in the tournament for the rest of the time here.
Yep, it looks like Death Race for Love does have a crab on their side. They get a nice pick onto the bucket there, and unfortunately can't get the pick on the range blaster. But they seem to have momentum, but no, it seems like they're getting picked off by this shot, but they finally got taken care of. The rodent in the room, but this range blaster gets a nice pick, and I think, don't mark my words, Mitski Routers has the momentum to start a push here. Never mind, of course it doesn't happen.
I mean, it looks like throughout all the chaos there, I mean, some people on Mitski Routers did go down, but they are pushing that tower to that first checkpoint. And it doesn't look like anyone in Death Race for Love is nearby. I think they might be able to get this first checkpoint uncontested, which is a huge boon for the rest of the game. Like, getting past that checkpoint early is going to give you more chances to contest that second checkpoint, which is very hard to get past. So a great win by Mitski Roush to begin with, as they do make it to the second checkpoint. A lot of bombs going off there. Doesn't look like anyone's on tower. I think Death Race for Love is able to get the stop. Yeah, tower's moving back. So Death Race for Love lets the first checkpoint fall, but protects the second checkpoint.
Yep, very close there. I mean, they got it all the way to 36. That's going to be a lot of work for Death Race for Love to be able to do. But they are coolered up here, and that's a wave breaker on their side. So that is a special that they do get to work with. And it looks like Mitski Rodgers is still holding on, and they do get 2 picks on the left side there, trying to fight this out. But this bucket does go down. But Mitski Rodgers might be getting momentum back, and they've gotten plenty of pushes. This crab is popped on the side of Death Race for Love, but gets picked off by the range blaster. Mitski Rodgers is already back on the push offensive, and they've gotten a lot of kills already. And this is looking very scary for Death Race for Love once again.
Yeah, they've just not really been able to settle in. Like, I think the tower's kind of hanging out in like an area that's hard for them to capitalize off of, and now just like that, Mitski Rodgers has it back at that second checkpoint. Again, it doesn't look like they're quite on the way to clearing it, but there's someone else getting on the tower again, getting on the left snipe, getting a kill there. That looks like to be the shot, Caden. And Mitski Rodgers has the shot out there, has a person on tower. They're in good shape to go down, and they do get past second checkpoint, but not for going 3 down. But the Zap is back in mid to give jumps. They have a cooler ready as well, probably going to pop that momentarily. Yep, here you go. And Zuka's up, Waves up, and Mitski Rodgers using a last special to make sure they keep control of mid, make sure they don't get Death Race for Love, get too comfortable here. And so far in this game, it's been all Mitski Rodgers. They get another 2 down here. They've controlled the tempo of this game from start to finish as they look to start yet another push.
Yeah, like you said, Death Race for Love really needs to settle in. I mean, that's what their comp is good at with that tent and the splash. They really just need to be able to get set up before getting a push, but they are unable to do so. And nice kill from the shot there. 2 down on the side of Mitski Rodgers and 1 down on the side of Death Race for Love, but they're still holding on to that tower, able to push it all the way back with an added 2 points from what they were at before. But I think Death Race for Love is starting to gain some ground, gets a nice 2 picks, and maybe they'll be able to hold their nice pick from the blaster. It's just this person on the bottom right dancing around trying to dodge this blaster, but they're unable to escape. And Death Race for Love has maybe finally settled in like you said they needed to.
Yeah, great kills by the range blaster inside Death Race for Love to finally get settled in, finally start a push potentially. You see they do have a Zuka up, but the Zuka goes down. That was a great kill by whoever got that, but they were cool with, so they do get the Zuka back if they want to start again. 2 go down instead of Mitski Rodgers, and maybe now we see the tower go onto the side of Mitski Rodgers and finally start to tick down a little bit. The bucket's on the right side. We'll see if they can get a kill there, although they do head back.
Yeah, Mitski Rodgers finally has the stabilization that they need to, but Bucket has these strikes, is trying to slow down their push. The crab comes out, but they do get picked off immediately, and that's a wipeout. I have no idea what happened, but it turns out everyone on Mitski Rodgers died somehow, and 2 specials on the side of Death Race for Love. This might be a push that they could do, and they might be able to make this comeback after this very strong push from Mitski Rodgers.
Keep an eye on the perch on the far right. See if anyone on Death Race for Love tries to make the jump from tower onto that to kind of stall, give the tower riders some extra defense here.
Do they see this range behind? Oh, they do.
Yeah, you see the crab go up there along with the tent. The tent goes down. The splash has to fall down. They go down as well. And it's a full wipeout with 19 seconds left. And that might be the game for Mitski Rodgers to stay alive in the tournament. Although there's still 10 seconds left. Let's see if Death Race for Love can make a last-ditch effort to get back to tower.
They might be doing so. Nice pick onto the splash there for a shot there. But this try spikes come out. And that might be the game sealed. 2 go down on the side of Death Race for Love, and that is the game for Mitski Rodgers.
Yeah, so Mitski Rodgers stays alive in a pretty dominant game of tower control. Like, Death Race for Love got a little bit close to the end, but they never really got to second checkpoint, I don't think. And I think for most of that game, Mitski Rodgers had full control. I think this map played right into their hands. The tent never really got settled in. Like, the whole team of Death Race for Love never really got settled in. So good job in the face of getting potentially swept. Good job by Mitski Rodgers to get one back and potentially get themselves back some momentum here.
Yes, agreed. Now we are moving to Rainmaker on Manta Maria. You reckon we'll see 10 here?
Yes, I think that Rainmaker in general is pretty good for Tent just because it gives that Rainmaker some extra protection while they're moving forward. And I think Manta in particular, there's a lot of like narrow corridors which Tent can use perfectly. Think about like the street and like the lead up to left checkpoint. Like I think that it's a very like linear map. There's not a lot of ways for people to go around the tent or like bully them with like flanks or whatnot. So I think that if the tent can get set up, even if they go back to an impact tent, even better, I think. But if they can get set up, then Death Wish for Love can get some serious pushes here. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's like you've been saying, they just need to settle in with their slow-paced comp to be able to take space, stabilize, and play for those instead of picks, because this Mitski Rotters team likes to play very aggressive and very fast.
Yes, absolutely. I think if you are Mitski Rotters here, I think you gotta be able to like take these pushes from Death Wish for Love and kind of take them out before they fully get started. Because I think like if you let them like linger in mid and get specials and get like a tent set up, then I think it could be dangerous. But I think they just got to be really aggressive, making sure Death Wish for Love never really gets too comfortable.
Yes.
And here we go. Still game point and match point for that matter for Death Wish for Love, but they're looking to put that last loss in Haggle Tower behind them here. We do see the Vac 10 again, like we have for most, if not all, of the Rainmaker games that Death Wish for Love has played here. And we also see the custom range blaster for Death Wish for Love, and we see the custom regular blaster for. Actually, no, that's also a custom range. It looks like actually. So, no, never mind. It is a custom blaster. My mistake.
It's fine. I do notice a 52 gal. I think that's one.
Yes, I think it's the first time we see that today.
Yeah, but wait. Death Race for Love might be able to set up like you said they needed to. 2 down on the side of Mitski Rotters. They were cooler though, but they're really scattered everywhere, and they're not able to fight together. And Death Race for Love really just needs to settle in here. But no, I think that is a Zuka snipe from the side of Mitski Rotters, able to stall their push for a little bit. But mid is still held by Death Race for Love, and they might be able to make this push happen, opting to go to the right check here. But they are stopped by that bucket, I believe, and Mitski Rotter is able to maybe recover. They do get a nice 2 down, 3 down onto the side of Death Race for Love, and they've held on against that scary push.
Death Wish for Love had an opportunity. They had people on the bunker in front of the rain, but that Zuka shot changed everything that killed the rain. It totally took the momentum out, and now just like that, Mitski Rotters has themselves in a 2-down situation. It's a delayed 3-down situation as people come out respawn. They're going to go for the right check and get it without anyone contesting them. They got up on top of bunker. They should be able to pop this easily. They have strikes going. If someone grabs that Rainmaker, they could potentially get down past the street into near the pedestal. They get it all the way to 22. Not quite all the way down to where the pedestal is, but really close. And I do think that Death Wish for Love is going to be able to get control of their street back, as you do see the shot go down there, but still they do get full control of the Rainmaker. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think Death Race for Love has recovered. But wait, this Slosh is trying to make me change my mind. 2 down, and it looks like the tent has finally cleaned that up. But this shot is still here, trying to get popped. Mitski Rotters is holding on, and these are just a bunch of hero plays going on. They do get the pop, and they're going to run this Rainmaker even farther, right next to the pedestal, where 10 points remain, and that is the only thing stopping them from winning the game here. But they're still here in their spawn. This one person sharking here, they grab the Rainmaker once again. Never mind, they did not grab the Rainmaker. They're able to luckily reset that 2 down on both sides, and Mitski Rotters.
Yeah, I mean, Death Wish for Love just left the Rainmaker just sitting there, just waiting for Mitski Rotters to take advantage of it. And here we see now they get wiped out again, and Mitski Rotters is going to be able to go on the attack again. They already got a pretty solid push, but no lead is really ever safe on this mode and map. So we'll see if they can try and potentially get a knockout here, potentially increase their lead. We'll see what they can do here. The Rainmaker does end up dying to the Inkvac shot. And right now, it's kind of in a neutral state. Mitski Rogers is able to repop. They get all the way to 1. Wow, I was not expecting them to get that far. Mitski Rogers is playing fast. They're trying to get the knockout. They want that knock. They want to end it. They want to force the game 5, but they're going to have to wait a little bit longer as they go 3 down. And I think Death Race for Love can finally get it out of there. But Death Race for Love is going to need to knock out if they want to win this game. Death Race for Love uses the Zuka a bit early. They don't get punished for it, but it's something that they won't happen when they push, unless they can charge another one pretty fast. The range then for them gets caught out, kind of a little too far out, but they were able to kind of get some trade backs from their teammates as well. A lot of people on both sides going down. The rain is still up as well as one other person there, but they're able to be quickly taken out by the blaster. He now has control of mid, but not until the rain sees them and gets their control of mid back. And it looks like they died to a bomb off the shield, yeah. And Death Race for Love, it goes 3 down actually. And now Mitski Rogers is going to try and knock out again.
Sorry, I was disconnected once again. But yeah, basically a wipe out Mitski Rogers. I'm not sure what happened, but I mean, they're in control. That's all I know right now, and that's all that seems to matter right now. And they've staggered Death Race for Love once again, but the shot able to get 2 nice picks here. But Mitski Rogers is still holding on and gets a nice kill. That 52, I think, is still living there, trying to make something happen to seal this game up, but they do go down to that Rainmaker. And I think Death Race for Love does have one last opportunity to be able to take this game despite it looking so close to ending.
Yeah, just 12 seconds left, and they go 3 down. It's a delayed wipe, and Mitski Rogers, I believe, is going to be able to get this. Unless the Rage can get a miraculous kill, they cannot. And just like that, Mitski Rogers is forcing a Game 5 winner-take-all in the Grand Finals bracket reset. After a pretty dominant Manta Maria game and a pretty dominant Hagglefish game, they're going to force the Game 5 and potentially get a reverse sweep Game 5 bracket reset win over Death Race for Love.
Wow, that was just amazing playmaking. Able to hold down on that right side and push that Rainmaker despite it looking like it was over for them in terms of that one single push.
Yeah, I mean, again, like Death Race for Love, they never really got settled in, even on a map that I thought would be more favorable to them. I think that the blaster on Mitski Rogers just kept getting timely kills, kept being thrown aside. The 52 as well, you mentioned, they were kind of just hanging out in their flat a little bit. And I think they were also just a little too, Death Race for Love that is, they were a little too slow in getting the Rainmaker back from when Mitski Rogers died, like near their pedestal and back to mid. I feel like they were a little slow in doing that. A lot of Mitski Rogers to kind of just get back themselves to mid without any consequences really and just kind of get it for free. So I don't know. I think if you are Death Race for Love, momentum is very firmly on your side. I'm sure there are nerves going on. You're worried about you giving up the reverse sweep after beating them in the very first set back in Winners Finals, after losing to them back in the first part of Grand Finals, and eventually losing here in a bracket reset. I know the nerves must be high, so it'll be interesting to see how they can respond. Will they get away with it, or will they potentially fall apart once again?
Yes, and what better place to do away with those nerves than Marlin Airport. Wow, how are we seeing this map at this point?
Yeah, it'll all come down to Marlin zones between these two teams, and I don't know if Marlin zones can get away from a team if they get locked out. It's another map that's a little hard to retake. It is a smaller zone, so I think like these painting specials like tri-strikes could be useful here, but I don't know. I think at this point, Mitski Rogers has the momentum. They have the dedicated bucket player as well for the strike, so I think that can be something. I know Death Race for Love has also run bucket in the past a couple of times too, so we'll see how it goes.
I know one thing that this map does get complained about is something that it has in common with Search and Shipyard Tower is it's a little bit snowballing. I think once you're able to push past that elevator area and onto the enemy plat, the game is almost nearly sealed, and it becomes very difficult to push against that.
But here we go, Game 5. Winner of this game wins the tournament. It all comes down to this. And you see the Pencil, Sorrel Tent Splash, and Custom Blast from Death Race for Love. You see the Vanilla Blaster, Bucket, Zap, and 52 again after it worked last time for Mitski Rogers. So we will see how it goes.
Yep, nice tent there. I think for zones might be able to be better for Death Race for Love, and just a lot of trades in mid. But it seems like this pencil is getting chased by what seems to be the 52 cal. But I think they do survive that, able to jump out there just in time. But that was enough time for Mitski Rotters to take control. They do get another pick onto that custom blaster, I believe, or range blaster, and Mitski Rotters has a really good push and control here.
Yeah, they get a kill on the tent by the blaster, I believe, to kind of stall out their retake a little bit. They're still 2 down, and Mitski Runner still has good control of the zone, but we'll see if Death Race for Left can get some specials going. The crab goes down, but
Oh
to the
no.
blaster, the blaster's a brutal pick for them. And just like that timer is ticking down. They're already past 40, and Death Race for Love is going to need to find a special. They have a Zuka ready. We'll see when they pop that. They pop that now. Will they find something? They find the bucket as well. So that's a 4v3. That might be all that Death Race for Love needs at this point because they're running out of time. They can't afford to get knocked out here.
Yeah, I mean, Mitski Rotters' speed combined with this map might be really bad for Death Race for Love, but they managed to cap that zone and give a nice penalty to Mitski Rotters. That is a huge penalty. Unfortunately, they aren't able to take any control of mid after that, but they do buy themselves a lot of time to be able to maybe get some specials going to be able to retake, but that's going to be very difficult still.
Yeah, I mean, they did save themselves from the knockout, but at the same time, that penalty's ticking down. They have the strikes and the whale up, and for Mitski Routers does, and they're going to try and stall them out on their plat as much as they can. Right now, no one on Death Race for Love is even close to zone. That penalty is getting dangerously low, and they need to start mobilizing specials, mobilizing anything at this point soon. It's do or die time now for Death Race for Love as the penalty is ticking down. There's 10 seconds left. They need to go. They have a splashdown, it looks like. Can they get something there? They get 1, but 3 go down. And is that going to be enough? Mitski Riders recaps 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mitski Riders gets the knockout.
No.
After a reverse sweep, after a bracket reset, after losing to this team in winners finals, they redeem themselves and pull off an ultimate comeback to win Splashdown Saturdays number 6.
Wow, amazing playing there. That was a desperate attempt from Death Race for Love. A valiant effort there, but Mitski Rotters pulling off the reverse sweep on the bracket reset after losing to Death Race for Love in the winners finals. That is just amazing. That's wow.
Yeah, it was 3 extremely well played games from Haggle Tower, Manta Rainmaker, and Marlin Zones by Mitski Riders, where they just turned the Jets on and put any doubt of them getting swept, losing the series, just losing the tournament. They put all of those doubts behind them and locked in, for lack of a better term.
That's so fair. I mean, that's the only thing that comes to my mind as well. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, they just played amazingly. That speed that they played with, I don't think Death Race for Love was able to adapt in time for that. And maybe the maps were a little bit not in their favor, but who knows? I think both teams played very well here.
Absolutely. Shout out to Death Race for Love. They were on the verge of it, and they played quite well, just didn't have enough in the end. But it was 2 great teams that we saw play, 3 total sets today, so really, really good effort from both teams.
Yep. And like you said, that does conclude Splashdown Saturdays. I don't remember what number. What is
6.
this? Number 6, right? I'm losing my own marbles now. But yes, that concludes Splashdown Saturdays number 6 now. And with Mitski Rotters taking first place.
Yeah, so that'll be it from us. I'm DHVF. Thanks for listening to me commentate tonight. And yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, sorry about having to commentate alone for a little bit.
No, it's no problem. No problem. But yeah.
Yes. Get out of here. Leave.
Yeah, thank you.